Good day and welcome back to Elementary 72 Gaming. We're back again with another Tower of God full spoilers, episode 206 of season 2. Now obviously with all of this we are really catching up to season 3. Season 3 is less than 150 episodes away, so at this current rate it will be by the end of the month that this is being released in, which is April, that I would either be in season 3 or a few episodes away from season 3. If you count it with the episode a day, oh no, I'm not doing the full amount. I will be done by the time the next month is over, but the amount of videos that are out will not match against that figure. So yeah, no need to worry for you guys. I forgot that I only publish one video a day. So at 30 days, at 5, that's 150 episodes. Oh no, I will be in season 3. So yeah, by the end of May, my full spoilers will be over. Yeah, that's sad. I'll see what else I can do for this whole fun section of Tower of God. Maybe I'll make more theories, or maybe I'll go back and do a fact check on some of the ideas that I have, like the 10 great families and how I rank them. So here we go, Floor of Death. And we see this here really makes Ender Rossi irritated. So we see even Shibisu makes the reason with him, but Hats has always been that stubborn individual. So he goes for it. He's gonna fight Kun instead. He figures that if he can stop Kun, they'll be able to get their way. The big problem is you don't fight a light bearer in the close quarters of his lighthouse, because then he can use Shinsu boosts and things which are similar to wave controller strengths on a minimal effect on whatever he wants, and he does this here in this fight where he opens up his weapon. We do see them use this here once or twice in the future. Epthelion, when he corners Evancal, he uses a Shinsu boost on a limited area to accelerate the projectiles within the barrier. It's similar to what Enakor does, but that's just a ranker's ability with his lighthouses versus this limited show that we get of it. And there's it, Kun is out of the way. So we see that it's all about irregulars as well. And this here hurts Ender Rossi's feelings deeply, because remember, she's in love with Palm. She can't stand him not siding with her. So we see that inertia is out there, and remember, this is against orders. And this is the whole thing. Remember, I said that this station has a lot of ideals that are explained, and I'm not going to go into it, but inertia is an example of exercising freedom within your restraints. There's a certain place that you can go outside of your rules. You break them to a certain extent and you won't get punished for it. You can think of it as the way that some countries do it. Like, if you have a nuclear arsenal, you can break more rules than other people. Like, for example, if it wasn't Ares Inertia and it was Yukon, the human waste, the toxic waste human, he would have been punished with most probably being killed and being replaced. But this is a different story altogether. So he's gonna get Chanwa's sword, or I think he just acquired Chanwa's sword. So here's something else to note about that whole rock fight with Ares Inertia. When Ares Inertia has an ignition weapon, he now has the power of an ignition weapon in the hands of an Ares swordsman. Remember, they have that whole ability to manipulate the Shinsu around their weapon for their fighting style. So because of that, the ignition becomes more dangerous. Ignitions on its own are extremely dangerous. They can do a lot of damage to a person, and with it now being mixed with the Ares sword style, you can do a lot more damage to a person. Oh no, this isn't there. They still haven't come in. He's been taking a beating from him without the ignition. He would have actually won that fight if I am correct. Remember, he didn't decompress as yet, so it wasn't really all that difficult. Yeah, so it looks like I did spoil what I'm right here at, and I thought that he already had the sword that Chanwa has in his hand, and there he ignites it. Remember, they born to handle swords, so the swords will always listen to them. We see that one of the other 10 whatever the 10 leaders of this place are called, they following them, and they see that Sachifeka is here, so they're like, he's one of the top 3 D rank regulars. I'm not getting involved in that. I'd rather go hide away. That's safer for me. It's going to be easier that way. Even if I had 100 slaves, this isn't worth it. I'm just going to go hide. And here we get Ares Inertia grabbing an ignition weapon. Like I said, it becomes more dangerous in his hands because of the way they use swords. They use a Shinsu type of technique to actually move it around. So they end up moving space with their weapon strikes. So when he ignites it and he moves it, now is super dangerous. And here we'll see Rock decompress. Remember, Rock likes to fight more powerful enemies, and fighting them compressed means that he was taking on the disadvantage. He decompressed all of a sudden to fight. Now he really needs the decompression to beat the ignition, even if he could. But he ends up being taken out like everybody else. And we see that Bomb still hasn't stopped risking everybody's lives. Remember, he's still making that mistake. He ends up breaking away from it after the hidden floor. Not even in the next section where she does a whole lot of irredeemable stuff yet again, but he doesn't know about it. If he found out that Arc Raptors and Prince's deaths were because of the trap that Rachel set, I think he would kill her. He would have killed her. Remember, those were his dear companions. If he found out about it, I think Rachel would have been dead. Rachel would have been dead, and White would have been on his list for the next kill. He would have went at it, and without White being complete, White would have been dead. So yeah, that is something for you to consider. And if Rachel was dead, he wouldn't have escaped. And we have Wariyun to thank for that situation. Believe it or not, I really don't like her. The the more I reread the sections, the more I realize there's nothing redeeming about that silly guide. She's the worst person I've ever thought of. She's actually second to Rachel on my most hated list right now. Jahad might be gaining more favor in my mind right now because of young Jahad. Kun Edwan is way above them. I put a lot of characters below those three, to be honest. I I love Kun Aguero Agnes. Honestly, this guy's one of my top favorites. My favorite is definitely Balm. I like Balm because of the way that he develops, and I'm beginning to see a lot of the characteristics of those around him, and why it's so fun. Rak is one of my favorites as well, but following them is where it becomes difficult. I like Shibisu, but he's not one of my favorite characters. He doesn't fall into the bottom list, he doesn't fall into a top list. He's a likable character, but he's not the best. Hats, he's definitely in the likable list. He's definitely in the top 10 rating for characters who you'd like. Yuri, top 4. Definitely top 4. She's most probably ranked number 4. Evan, I don't really see enough of his character. He plays too much of a support to Yuri. Yurik is fun. You know what? Yurik is fun whenever he shows up. There's always something fun going down when Yurik is in the scene. But other than that, his character isn't yet flashed out. So he's just like Evan. He's in the center with Chibisu and the rest of them. Poberao Gusteng, just with the little bit that he said and the few words that he said and the way that he speaks, he gives me the impression that he belongs on the bottom list instead of the top list, even though he has better characteristics. Kun Edwan on the top list, he's not in the top 10. He's most probably 11, 12 in that region. Jahad is below him. And I think that the fully grown version of Kun Edwan is going to fall in the exact same category. Fully grown Jahad is a bad guy, but I'm not sure which way to place him. Remember, his character hasn't yet been flushed out. So he's also in the middle. Wagnan following the same story. Wagnan has too much hidden about him and he's hiding too much, so we don't know where to place him, whether he's a good guy or a bad guy. And dear Kesa is about to play a trick. She wants to force Enderossi to fight Balm. Now, the funny part about this is Waryun allowed it to happen. The reason is this whole situation gave them an excuse to get onto the station, and she knew Balm was going to get the name. She needed it so that she could get to the floor, so that she could get the ladle, so that she could get the trade with the catfish to get another piece of the thorn. That is the whole idea behind it overall. Remember, they're still going to get a piece of the thorn. Madarako is in big trouble, especially considering how powerful Balm has become. So yeah, Madarako better watch his back now, because the regular, the 25th Balm is super deadly. He's most probably going to be able to kill them. And remember, Madarako isn't that type of high ranker. He's most probably like just in the top 500. He's not in the lower sections. He's between 450 and 500, and he's there just because of influence mainly. He's more of an advanced ranker than a high ranker. So here we go with the whole auction. Tower of Hostages yet again. Remember, I said these are repeating themes. You want to find out about it? Watch my season 1 video. I talk about Tower of Hostages repeating over and over again. How they play it out in different formats all the time. I've explained why it's used. I explained why it's so easy to play. The symbol here at the bottom, I'm not 100% sure about it. But 6 with the drawing pattern, if I'm correct, that is an Imperial sign. Imperial, not as in Star Wars, as in old Imperial. And this here with Jin Sang Ha sucking on a lollipop and being told that he's not allowed to smoke is actually a reference to another anime where a character sucks on a lollipop so hard that it actually starts to smoke on the end, and when he pulls it out, it says this isn't a cigarette, this is just a sucker. So yeah, it's homage to that. Now Fug can't do much over here. They could lead an entire team, but because of the rules of the station, they would be at a massive disadvantage. They just have to leave it to Balm to do whatever he's going to do. It's actually easier to buy him back from here and put him right back into Fug than to do anything else. That was if Balm lost. This was one of the more fun fighting sections, and here we get the whole maze situation. This is once again Waryun playing tricks. She didn't tell them how to get to the objective at the end of the day. She could have done it, but she chose sneaky methods to get rid of one of the henchmen over here. Lilia and Shaliel are getting ready for their attack. Remember, one of them is going to fight Huts and one of them is going to fight Enderossi, so they split in two. Here's the toxic waste human, like I said in my last video, and there's a ton to discuss here as well. Right, like the whole idea of what happens the moment his name gets stolen, when he gets worried because he's being offered to those who he's oppressed. Remember, they can't disobey orders. Okay, so here we go. This is one of my favorite images of Balm ever. The one that is the cover picture for this episode, where he's showing off some of his power against the human waste, the toxic waste human. So we see that Balm wants a quick shield. He blocks the toxic waste, then he is going to amplify his power, shatter all of his pipes that shoot out all of his toxic waste, and then he's easy to take down because now we can't spray it everywhere. And there's Balm on his back holding it down. Reverse flow control so he can't move. Poison frog potpourri. I like this, yeah. So we see that he leads them to Alfine, and we find out that he's in love with Alfine. And this is where things start to play on yet another level of this whole situation of loyalty. This goes to show when people feel indebted, right? How much they're willing to sacrifice and how much they're willing to do for the other person. Remember, she allowed the mistake to happen, so she feels so responsible for the captivity of Caesar. That's why she's just trying to keep everything clear. After a few thousand years, she might change her mind, but not right now. Right now, she's just going to keep looking after her while trying to find her way around it. It's the whole thing that's happening here. I'm not really worried about the Ares Inertia versus Kunran story. This is an old rivalry. Remember, Kun Edwan likes to fight everybody, and he's really upset that he lost his position as number 5 to the fact that Yurik got number 4, and he really wants to fight Yurik someday. And that is like something ridiculous because remember, Yurik is a monster, and between the top 3 we know how they rank out. We know that Ariehan is the strongest. Han, right? He is the strongest. Then following him, we know it's Khun Edwan, and the one who follows that we definitely know is Yuran Ha. So those are the three at the top. Then everybody else, as they are ranked, definitely shows us the rest of the ranks. But there is something very big about this that we are missing from the whole story. A lot of the 10 great families have heirs who are mixed between multiple families. So when their heirs fight each other, it's all about which family held the entire unit at the end of it. It's not so much as who had the power per se. I hope that makes some sense. So anyway, let's see, there are some other things to discuss. I've discussed indebtedness a little bit. Indebtedness has another aspect to play within this whole station. Remember, the whole thing is that once your name is stolen, you try to earn your name back, or you get bought out. Remember, that's the other thing. They're using this as a utility to get rid of people. It's a way to trick people to pull them back in. So you make sure they get off of the name hunt station. You guarantee them freedom if they can bring you the name of Kesa, and you use that as a presupposition, or sorry, not as a presupposition, you use that as pretext to get them to get to the station. And when they go after Kesa just has to capture them, hold their name, and hold the auction. Then at the auction, at the year, whenever it happens, they come in, they buy that regular, and they're back in the family that they were escaping from. They're now owned by the family, and that ownership is continuous throughout the entire tower, doesn't ever leave you. So that's the whole idea behind this. That's what this whole station is for. That's how they're using it. It's a very cruel way to use the system, but it's the easiest way to use it. It's a way to get back that which you have lost. I hope that it makes some sense the way that I just said it. Beyond all of this, there isn't much that I can explain with regards to the mechanics of the station. So yeah, we will catch you in the next one, especially since the next one has the Alfine and the Shinsu situation. It has Enomas explained for the first time, and yeah, I'm going to start getting into that in the next one. So see you all then, and have a good day.